you have good quality, cheap eyeshadow palettes, I'm happy. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a review, first impression, of one of the newer Morphe eyeshadow palettes. This is the 35C Everyday Chic Artistry palette. There's 35 shades. It says, take your look from daytime to date night with this palette of stylish stunners. Neutral shades of taupe and camel are complemented by soft hues of purple, jade, and sapphire. With velvety matte and eye-catching shimmer finishes, these shades add a touch of glam to any occasion. So this is the outer packaging as per usual. And then this is the packaging. It's that plasticky packaging, and this is $25 US. It is $32 Canadian, and Morphe shadows typically are amazing quality, so I think ultimately packaging isn't as important when it comes to, you know, you have good quality, cheap eyeshadow palettes. As long as the packaging is not falling apart, to me, I'm happy. I really love that the inside of this part is pink, and then when you take a look at the actual palette, it looks really beautiful. You have some really nice selection of colors, lots to play with, and as I said, definitely a cooler toned palette. We're gonna play around with that, but I also did get one of the Complexion Pro face palettes. I got the 8F Fair Play. I don't have a face palette by Morphe, and honestly, I've really typically only used a lot of their eye products, so I'm really excited about this one. It's very similar packaging, a little bit different, but very similar. And this is the face palette. You have a brightener in here, so that could be like a setting powder, finishing powder, under eye powder type thing. You also have 3 bronzers, but this blush here is actually, it definitely swatches a lot more pink. Do you see how pink that looks? In the pan, it looks like a very light bronzer, so that's actually really, that's kind of weird. Do you see the difference from the swatch to the palette? So you get the brightener, as I mentioned. You actually get 2 bronzers and a contour, and remember, this one is for fair skin, so obviously deeper skin tones, it's not going to be dark enough, which is kind of nice that they have the different palettes for different skin tones. Then you get 2 highlighters and the 2 blushes. So we're going to play around with that as well today. Let's start with eyes. I've already prepped my eyes with my MAC paint pot, and we're just gonna dive right in. I am going to have swatches of both palettes at the end of the video. I'm gonna take my Morphe M511, and I'm going to go into the shades. I hate these things. I honestly, before I did my channel, I'd chuck these out. I hate these little things. They always end up falling out, you lose them, or they're just in the way. But I obviously keep them now because for my channel, I want to tell you guys what shadows I'm using. So I just pop it in the top here. You can even tape it in there if it bothers you. I've done that before, but I prefer when they put them on the actual palette. But I mean, I guess you can't have it all. Again, this is a $25 palette for US viewers. The other thing to mention is they don't come with a mirror. I'm gonna use the mirror from the little face palette here, and we're gonna go in with the Feelin' Pretty, which is this mauvey kind of purpley shade up here at the top corner. Start fluffing that in the crease. They do kick up a bit of product, so make sure you're tapping off your excess. I've honestly always been a fan of Morphe's eyeshadow. I like a variety of undertones. I am neutral undertone, like skin tone, so I can kind of pull off warm and cool, which is nice. But for those of you that have cooler undertones, this is going to be nice for you. So if you have cooler undertones, you have like more bluish veins, you might be more pale, you might have a lot of redness in your skin. Oranges and yellows and reds might not look great on you. You might look better in silver jewelry rather than gold. If you kind of feel any of those apply to you, you might be cooler undertones. Okay, so that blended really nicely. I felt it was pigmented enough that I got quite a bit of color from it, but it still was a soft enough shade that you can use it as a transition shade and it will help kind of get that nice blend. So I'm happy with that one. So far, so good. I'm gonna take my JH50, and this is a much more flat and dense brush. I'm gonna go into the shade Playtime. The cool toned lavender purple right there. And I'm going to just kind of focus that on the outer crease. That one's very pigmented, really nice. I'm gonna just take the brush I used before with no extra product on it, and like I'm barely touching the skin, but I'm just like letting the bristles rub against my skin, and I'm going to like blend that purple out. This kind of diffuses the edges and blends it into the color that you laid down before. I don't think I really lost any of that product. I'm just gonna use the brush I had before to pack it on. And I'm going to use that on the edges a little bit more. Now we're going to play around with some of these metallics. I'm gonna take, what shade is this? Fancy This, and that's the similar color but a metallic. And we're gonna press that all over the lid. It's a little bit more cool, like it has a little bit more like icy bluish hues to it. And I'm going all over the lid. This is pigmented as well. You know what, before I continue on this eye, I'm going to take a like flat shader and I'm going to pick up some of that and see if it applies with a brush. Sometimes these kind of metallics can be more difficult. No, I'm getting pretty good pigmentation though. Like I'd say about the same. That's nice. Sometimes metallics are really tough to get pigmented with a brush, so you don't even have to wet it, I don't think. I'm just gonna kind of apply a little more there. Really pretty color, I like that. This super fun Talk of the Town, and that's that like really glittery kind of purpley pink shade right here in the center. I'm gonna take it with my finger. It feels like more gritty, like an actual pressed glitter. I'm gonna press that all over the lid as well. It kind of is doing that thing where it's sticking to my finger and it's kind of hard to apply like quickly, like you kind of have to go back every time and just press it in one place. One thing that sometimes helps with that, pick it up with a brush and then wet it. Trying to decide which one was better, finger or brush. I think honestly, the finger works best for the glitter. So I'm bringing it to about half of the lid actually. And then I'm just gonna kind of blend that edge. And I'm going to just kind of sweep my brush from the glitter into the crease, and so then it kind of just pulls and blends the glitter into that metallic, and it did a pretty good job. You just have to kind of, you pick it up and then instead of just pressing it, you kind of press and pull a bit, like that. And then it kind of slides off your finger. Like if I were to take it and just go like this, you don't get a whole ton, but I take it and I go like this, you get a lot more. You see that? So that's the technique that's working really well for me. Really pretty though. That took it like right to like a glam look. And that's the thing that I think this palette is supposed to be about, is like you can do supernatural looks and then you can pop on these fun punches of color and fun glitters and metallics, and then it's like you've transformed into this glam like date night outing kind of look. I'm actually really excited to play around with this palette now. I'm actually going to take Ready to Mingle, and it's like a bit of a more bright purple and blend that on the lower lash line. And then I'm just going to take the fluffy brush that I used for my transition shade and blend that edge. Ooh, that looks bright. This one right in the top left corner, it's that like bright champagne-y shade, and it's Cheers to You. I'm going to take my Morphe E18 and I'm just going to put that in my inner corner. And I'm just taking the like excess, popping that underneath the brow bone. Okay, so I definitely am happy with this palette so far. My look that I've created is nice. I like all of the shades that I've used so far. The matte ones that I used were really pigmented and blendable. No patching. The metallics that I used, really pigmented, went on like a dream, brush or finger, and had such a beautiful finish to them. And then the glitter was really nice. Not the easiest glitter to apply, had a little bit of that like it sticks to your finger type thing going on, but you just have to kind of work with it, and it was really nice. So I'm happy with that. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyeliner and mascara, and then we'll come back and we will do the face palette. Okay, so I have finished my eyes and my lips. We're gonna go ahead into the face palette. So this is the Fairplay 8F face palette. It is $24 US and 32 Canadian, so very similar actually to the eyeshadow palette. You obviously get a bigger pan size than the eyeshadow. I'm gonna go ahead with the contour. I've cream contoured actually, but we're going to use contour to deepen up the reinforce that. They're really pigmented. They do kick up quite a bit of product, so I would recommend really tapping off your brushes because you don't want to have too much product when you go in. It's better to build slowly than have too much and then have to blend it out. So that's really nice. It's definitely a pretty warm shade. So if you really are opposed to a warm contour, then I would just use this as a bronzer instead of actually contouring with it. Okay, so I'm contoured. I'm now going to take a fluffier brush. And let's go in with the lighter one just because I have quite a bit of color already. Yeah, it kind of just adds like a soft, subtle bronze, and they blend really beautifully, so I like them. Let's go ahead with blush, and I'm going to go into this more pinky blush just because I have a pretty cool eye and I want to not add too much warmth to contrast. This one here that I'm using looks like it has like the slightest sheen to it, but no glitter at all. Just like almost like a radiant matte. That's how it kind of seems, which is really pretty. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. And now let's try out these highlights. So there's a really gold one, and then there's this one that's kind of pinky. Kind of feels like a cream to powder formula. Feels very creamy. Now this one actually seems a little bit more natural and it's quite pink, so I think you'd have to build it up. You know what, I'm gonna just try it. I'm gonna take my Elmar brightening brush. I can definitely see the highlight. It's really pink, but it actually looks really nice. It looks a little bit more icy and less pink on the skin. So I actually don't mind that. I think I really like this palette. Yeah, it's like you can already see it's dented. Do you see that? This pink one. Like it's definitely, I think, a more cream to powder formula because it feels almost like you could like scoop it out. It's so creamy. I'm gonna just for fun pick up this other highlighter. This one is more powder like it's just a straight up powder. I'm gonna do it on a fan brush and just add a touch. Well, that's nice too. Add this one to the nose. Really pretty, I like it. This face palette I think is A+ as well. I definitely had a hair in my mouth. Well, I am impressed. I think both of these products were really good. Pigmentation was there, they blended well. I think I created a pretty good look. I'm happy with it, and I'm excited to play around more with these new Morphe palettes. If you like If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.